On Christmas Day in 1986, in the final seconds of regulation at Madison Square Garden, the Michael Jordan-led Chicago Bulls looked poised to put a damper on the New York Knicks' holiday. The bottom-feeding Knicks had fought valiantly all game long against the Bulls, and New York's young star, Patrick Ewing, was especially impressive, but with 6 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Chicago had the lead. And the Knicks, who at that point had the worst record in the Eastern Conference, weren't exactly known for their late-game fortitude. But in their moment of need, the Knicks' franchise cornerstone stepped up, propelling his team to an unforgettable win with one of the most iconic Christmas Day moments in NBA history. In the mid-1980s, the Knicks and Bulls were in pretty similar spots. Neither team was a contender yet, and the Knicks frankly were downright awful, but both franchises had newly drafted cornerstones that gave them something to dream on. The Bulls, of course, had Michael Jordan, whom they selected third overall in the 1984 draft and who proceeded to take home Rookie of the Year honors in 84-85 and was an All-Star in each of his first 2 seasons. But the Knicks had Patrick Ewing, the Georgetown sensation who went first overall in the 1985 draft and was the NBA's Rookie of the Year in 85-86. Now those two would form the backbone of the Bulls-Knicks rivalry that animated the Eastern Conference from the late 80s through the mid-1990s, but back in the fall of '86, they were just two up-and-coming young stars waiting for their first crack at one another. See, as it happens, the two didn't square off against one another in Ewing's rookie campaign. Jordan missed most of that season with a broken foot, and Ewing himself was limited to just 50 games due to injury. So it wasn't until the 86-87 campaign that Jordan and Ewing clashed for the first time. And while it ended up being a one-sided affair, that meeting was every bit as memorable as the basketball world had hoped. That night, Jordan dropped 50 points for the first time in his career and outclassed an inefficient, ailing Ewing in a 108-103 Bulls victory at Madison Square Garden. In the process, Jordan set the MSG record for points by a Knicks opponent and became the 12th youngest player in NBA history at the time with a 50-burger. Jordan had dunked on Ewing, in a proverbial sense, if not a literal one. And their second ever matchup, roughly 3 weeks later, followed a similar script. Jordan scored a game-high 40 points, including the Bulls' last 18 of the contest, capped by a game-winning buzzer beater.
Michael into the front court. Left corner shot by Jordan.
So when Christmas Day arrived and the Bulls waltzed back into the Garden for a holiday showdown against Ewing and the basement-dwelling 6-21 Knicks, most everybody was expecting another command performance from Jordan, the league's leading scorer, in his first ever Christmas game. Except that's not how it went down. Because just like the year before, Ewing was at his best on Christmas Day. See, on Christmas in '85, Ewing, as a rookie, delivered one of the finest Yuletide performances in NBA history. Squaring off against the mighty Boston Celtics, Ewing propelled his team to an epic comeback victory, dropping 32 points while adding 11 rebounds to beat the eventual NBA champions in double overtime. And 1 year later, Ewing showed up big on Christmas again, delivering another remarkable performance and his first statement game against Jordan and the Bulls, on national television too. And Ewing didn't waste any time asserting himself.
Wilkins. Dick, both teams love to run at trying to get that speed incorporated into their style of play.
Ewing going strong. Starts the game.
I'll tell you, he can find blue sky to get a shot off better than anybody in the game today.
They double Ewing. Corzine in front of him. And Patrick Ewing hits Oakley. Ewing might have gotten a piece of it.
Tucker is in the game for the Knicks. He finds Ewing. He finds the basket. Patrick Ewing with 6 points is the game's high scorer.
Yeah, Ewing was making his presence known on both ends of the floor early on, despite getting consistently double-teamed on the offensive end. He was also dominating the glass. And in the dying seconds of the first, Ewing made a tremendous play at the buzzer. A bit of foreshadowing, perhaps.
If they score. Ewing. Ewing again. And it counts.
No question, Ewing had outclassed an inefficient Jordan in the first, and the Knicks' big man continued to ball out in the second.
Ewing gives the Knicks a 10-point lead again. 15 on the shot clock. Ewing, baseline. 14 for Patrick Ewing.
At halftime, the Knicks had an 8-point lead, and it sure looked like Ewing, for a second straight year, was going to lead his team of underdogs to a Christmas Day triumph. Not so fast, though. Because, Michael Jordan is still Michael Jordan. And although his jumper was off in the first half and even early on in the third quarter, MJ wasn't going to let that stop him from contributing.
Jordan feeds Waiters. Good move by Waiters as he got it over the outstretched arms, and now it's a 5-point lead. The Bulls will try to cut it to 3. Jordan, basket good and a foul.
A walk it up type of offense.
Henderson on the return pass from Ewing, batted away. 4-on-2, Michael Jordan. Oh. And the Bulls lead. First time in the game.
Yeah, just like that, Jordan and the Bulls had erased the Knicks' lead, which at one point had stretched to 15. Suddenly, the holiday cheer at the Garden had turned into holiday unease. After 3 quarters, Chicago led by 2, and as a tight fourth unfolded, it seemed inevitable that this game would come down to the wire. And sure enough, with less than a minute left in regulation, the game was tied. Now with 26 seconds to go, the Knicks took a 2-point lead on a layup facilitated by a brilliant pass from Ewing, but on the ensuing possession, Chicago capitalized on some shaky rebounding from the Knicks and ultimately put New York on the precipice of a heartbreaking loss. This was it. 1 Knicks possession for the game. Now obviously, New York's preferred choice would be to get the ball down low to Ewing for a high percentage look. But, presumably in anticipation of a double team, that's not what head coach Bob Hill drew up. Instead, he put the game in the hands of Trent Tucker, who had scored 6 points in 31 minutes off the bench. But guess what? It was Ewing who delivered at the buzzer after all.
6 seconds to go. Comes into Tucker. Ewing sets a screen. The shot is off. Loose ball. Ewing goes up. The basket counts.
Wow. I mean, was that not cinema? Ewing, on that absolute brick from Tucker, went up for the offensive rebound and got off a desperate last-second putback attempt in the same motion, and it went in. Did you see how mad Doug Collins, the Bulls head coach, was? I mean, I get it. That was not how the Knicks drew it up, but Ewing, who had been so good all game, simply refused to lose. And just like his head coach, Jordan, who finished with a game-high 30 points in the losing effort, also seemed a little bit salty about the defeat, describing Ewing's buzzer beater as a great shot, but a desperation shot. MJ added, tomorrow he'll be in church and say his prayer of thanks. But whether it was divinely inspired or not, the Knicks had somehow secured their 2nd straight Christmas Day upset victory, their first winning streak of the 86-87 campaign, and their first win over Jordan and the Bulls with Ewing in the lineup. Hell, it may not be a stretch to say that the rivalry that ultimately developed between these two teams was born with that shot, a game winner in which Ewing showed that he had that dog in him, just like MJ. And to this day, almost a half-century later, Ewing's buzzer beater over the Bulls remains one of the great Christmas Day moments in NBA history. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button.